John Cena has made his big announcement, and it's not what everyone was expecting. We'll also check out what's up with Roman Reigns, Jacob, and more. Starting things off with John Cena and his big reveal and announcement. It was first announced a few weeks ago that John Cena would be making an appearance at Backlash for a special announcement. Due to the recent trend of mystery reveals not really living up to high expectations, fans didn't really know what to expect for this announcement from John Cena. Fans originally thought it could have been related to the upcoming club app for the company, but the more John Cena teased the announcement, the more that it did sound like something completely unrelated. John Cena kept hinting that the announcement will be groundbreaking and really shake up the entire foundation for both the fans and superstars. Fans were worried that the more John Cena hyped up the announcement, the more likely it wasn't going to live up to the massive expectations that were being built in place. The last teaser John Cena dropped was that this announcement would be another defining moment added to his career. So John Cena really teased the announcement very hard and really set up such a massive stage for the announcement. And that led us to Backlash itself, where John Cena finally revealed the news he's been holding on to this whole entire time. And that was the announcement of the first ever John Cena Classic. A lot of fans have a lot of questions about what this is and how it works, and John Cena did provide most of the answers during his big reveal. The John Cena Classic will be its own special standalone event. It's inspired by what we saw during the edition of Saturday Night's Main Event from December 2025 that featured John Cena's final match. On that edition of Saturday Night's Main Event, the undercard featured a series of matches that included NXT stars going up against main roster stars. That night of John Cena's final match gave the world a detailed look at rising stars such as Sol Ruca, Obafemi, Evans, and many more. It was the perfect platform to introduce the world to those young stars, since all eyes were tuning in that night to see John Cena's farewell match. Although John Cena was on his way out, he wanted to use the rest of that card to highlight all of the new talent that the fans could look forward to seeing in the near future. This structure was so successful during that night of John Cena's farewell match that they're bringing that same structure back as its own event that will be called the John Cena Classic. Cena explained that this new event that's being named after him will feature a series of matches between NXT stars versus main roster stars. Just a whole bunch of matches between the stars of today versus the stars of tomorrow. Exactly how it was during the December 2025 edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. Not only is it a series of exhibition matches between the main roster and NXT, but John Cena also confirmed that a new championship will be introduced at the inaugural John Cena Classic event. Although we have no idea what that title will look like, John Cena teased that it's going to be a title that he signs off on, and something that he's adding his own personal touch to as well. And here's the big twist for when it comes to that championship, and the first ever champion. The creative team won't dictate who gets that championship. The champion will be decided by the fans, with a voting system being in place. This basically means that it doesn't matter who really wins or loses during the John Cena Classic, because the fans will ultimately have the power to crown the champion. So the champion at the end of the night could be someone that actually lost their match. A loser is completely in play to be the new champion if they connect with the fans and if they win that fan vote. Some fans do have some concern about the voting system and how it could potentially just turn into a popularity contest. Whoever is the most popular superstar on that card is probably going to win the fan vote and the new title by a landslide. One thing John Cena didn't provide much details on was how the championship was going to work. Will the new title become a full-time championship that gets featured all year long, or will the new title become exclusive only for future John Cena Classic events? That's a big question amongst the community right now, because saying that a new title is debuting could be a bit misleading if they only plan on using that new title strictly for this event only. Could it turn out to be sort of like the Crown Jewel Saudi Arabia Championships, or these titles are technically on the line at that premium live event, but we never see the title again after that night? Or will it be a new full-time title that gets brought to every brand and gets defended all year long? That's the big detail about the new championship that we don't know quite yet. It pretty much goes without saying, but obviously it's also confirmed that John Cena will be in attendance and will have a big role to play on screen during his own special event. He'll most likely be in a hosting role, and we could see him several times throughout the night, with his biggest appearance obviously being to crown the new champion and hand over that title to the individual that wins the fan vote. The other details that are not quite yet confirmed includes the venue and the date. That appears to still be pending and unknown, but considering that they went ahead and made it known to the public, Fans are hoping that the John Cena Classic is something that goes down sometime this year. Roman Reigns versus Jacob took place at Backlash as the first ever meeting between those two superstars. A lot of hype heading into this match. It's been the highest featured program on television over the last few weeks. This storyline was getting segments on both Raw and SmackDown in the weeks leading up to Backlash. It definitely seems like this first feud of Roman's current world title reign was heavily inspired by Roman's first feud of his previous world title reign. During Roman's first title defense in 2020, he defended the title against Jay in what was viewed by fans as arguably one of the best feuds and stories of Roman's entire 4 years as champion. So it did seem like they were trying to recreate that family storytelling magic in current day with Jacob versus Roman. Their Backlash match against each other was pretty clean in regards to no outside involvement. A lot of fans were anticipating maybe Jimmy and Jay getting involved at one point. Can't forget that they did show the audience that Jacob was on the phone with multiple people a few weeks ago, so fans were wondering if Jacob could have had some extra backup coming into play as well, but turns out that no one interfered with the match. The only real factor that came into play was an exposed turnbuckle, which did lead to Roman defeating Jacob, and then we saw a post-match attack that was similar to what we just saw for Randy and Cody at WrestleMania, where the champion retains the title, but they don't get much time to celebrate, because they immediately get attacked by the loser of the match. Randy did that to Cody at WrestleMania 42, and now Jacob does the same exact thing here to Roman. It looks like the tactic and mentality of that type of post-match booking is so that Jacob doesn't look weak, and still carries his momentum coming out of that loss. Instead of the lasting image being Jacob on his back after the loss, the lasting image is instead Jacob destroying Roman and standing tall with the title. Just seems like a way to not tarnish Jacob as a loser and present him as still being a big threat even in defeat. During a post-match interview, Roman explained that this is exactly why the bloodline never brought Jacob into the group back during their peak. Before walking away, Roman said that Backlash was going to be Jacob's last night with the company. So quite the massive cliffhanger right there to leave things on. Is Roman about to pull some strings to get Jacob suspended indefinitely? Or what exactly was Roman hinting at there with that line? A lot of fans were joking that Jacob's post-match attack will probably send Roman off on an extended vacation, but that's not true. Roman is scheduled to appear on every single edition of Raw in the month of May, as well as a match at Clash in Italy. So Backlash was not meant to write Roman off television. He's going to be on every episode of Raw in May, and will be progressing this narrative with Jacob. A lot of fans think that the post-match attack at Backlash could be set up for a rematch between Roman and Jacob. We know how much they really love long feuds, so that does seem like a strong possibility. We probably got another 6 months left of seeing Roman versus Jacob, so it's possible that Roman's Raw appearances in the month of May could be used to set up a rematch against Jacob in Italy. Definitely several different routes are being teased here for this story. You have Roman teasing the idea that he's going to get Jacob removed from the company. You have the idea of the rematch taking place at Clash in Italy. And you also have this narrative in place of Roman slowly reverting to his Thunderdome persona. The Thunderdome version of Roman was terrifying and would not hesitate at all to do anything to an opponent, even if they were a family member. And now we see Jacob sort of acting out with that brutal side. So if Roman wants to survive and make it past Jacob, he's going to have to bring back out that Thunderdome version of himself and match Jacob's energy. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.